Listen.
By the way, I have my glasses on because I'm just shattered under here. Just
Well,
you
look.
know.
So Sony's back to being Sony. After using Spider-Man to get a seat at the big boys table, they like have just gone back to their roots and are even lying to their own directors. I know that every Morbius fan was surprised to see that even before the movie premiered, they had the director out there give an ending explains to the movie before anyone had a chance to see it. Like the dude was giving the wiki person a heads up on the plot. He gave us the after credits before we even bought a ticket. He revealed that even he didn't know that all that Spider-Man stuff was in the trailer. So when it was a surprise to us, it was an even bigger surprise to him. Now, I don't know how a company April Fools themselves into revealing everything that wasn't shown and then not showing what was, but, I guess the best way to appreciate good movies is to see how they handle the bad ones. So, before we get into full spoilers, just want to give a big shout out to our video sponsor for this one, Display, the place that helps you collect your passions for wherever you are. Obviously, I'm a big movie-loving cartoon and I love collecting posters, but it's a ticking time bomb when you're dealing with paper, so having a nice metallic poster is a great alternative, and they all come with these beautiful prints for all of your favorites. They have so many designs that I'm already waiting for the next email so that they can send me a couple more, with dozens being added all the time, and they're all fully licensed. They're each signed by the master of production, they plant a tree in your fandom honor, and they have an easy magnet mounting system to hoist up all your favorite artwork. So if you're interested, use our 2-week discount code down below in the description to get 25% off when you buy 1 or 2, and 29% off when you buy 3 or more. All shipped in 4 to 5 business days. Unless, you get Morbius to deliver them. Because this powers had him getting to downtown in a snap. 30 seconds, dude could probably get to Mars. So, with the last spoiler warning out of the way, let me explain.
So I'd never met him until the first day that we shot together. So the first day on set. And I've still never really met him as Jared, only as Michael.
So the story revolves around Dr. Michael Morbius, who grew up in an orphanage where kids would just come and go, as he struggled with a condition that left him in crutches. But after getting tired of always being called a crip, he dedicates his life to blood. He ends up getting fully funded by one of the kids that he himself was bullying at the orphanage, which kind of made no sense, because this kid comes in and his name is Lucius, and Morbius is like, nah, from now on, you're gonna be Milo. And everyone just calls him that, including himself. Why would he give money to someone who ends up treating him like a pet? I don't know. How does this guy get all this money when he was raised in an orphanage? I know less. By 19, Morbius got his doctorate degree because he's a smart guy and was able to win the Nobel Peace Prize for creating artificial blood, but then even denies the prize. His main goal is to find a way to cure the blood disease that he has, and so he makes it out to Costa Rica to collect some bats in order to alter his DNA, because in Sony's MCU, that turns you into Edward. In the real world, that gets your movie delayed. His colleague, Dr. Martin, ends up finding his bat collection and is actually curious about his experiment to the point that they test it out on international waters. They end up going out 13 nautical miles from Long Island in order for Morbius to inject himself, and that's still probably not the most illegal thing done off that island. Obviously, we're in the era of PG-13 superhero villains, where they can kill a whole slew of bodyguards that they hired, but because, one of them said something HR wouldn't approve of, their deaths are okay in the hands of the main character.
No one is 100% villain. Unless you're a psychopath or a sociopath, and then you could be. But even then...
Look, I'll be honest. For a second, they did have some really cool POV, like quicksilver shots. They take a lot of inspiration from Alien. They got some Nightcrawler in there. There are moments where the music and visuals matched up, and I thought I was watching Morbius Begins, but I did not expect Pokemon to play a part in the influences.
So then, I was watching Pokemon, and I was like, I like that. I like those waves. I like those colors, I like that kind of expression. And then we put that together and started working out this idea of the psychedelic version of the third eye.
With Leto being executive producer on this, obviously he's going to take it too far sometimes, but I do think that Leto can be an excellent actor. Sometimes you do get your weak crash performances. Other times you do get Gucci.
Never confuse shit with chocolato. Trust me. I know.
Honestly, Leto would try to pull DiCaprio for this scene. It was his decision to also ditch practical prosthetics and push for as much CGI as possible that kind of had some interesting moments where you see these sonar effects and gill ears, but they don't do too much with it. And that's something that the movie does a lot, where something will appear once and then just never come back to it, including transitions.
We should call an expert.
Hello?
Dr. Morbius. One of my players is doing things that are impossible.
I wouldn't worry about it. It's in his blood.
Considering the movie, that's performance enhancements. Once Morbius gets addicted to blood, he starts feeling the effects of his new powers, which honestly the man may know himself a little too well in real life. But once he goes from injecting to ingesting, everything around him is a buffet. Except when he has his own exceptions. The blood that he is drinking at first is all artificial. He's out in the sun when he's not supposed to be. I'm seeing him get captured on camera in this movie. And they even flirt with the idea of him not actually being a real vampire, but an artificial vampire. And then they just say JK because it's a hot topic.
But along the way, all hell breaks loose.
The one and only Tyrese does come in as a detective that's on the case and investigates the ship incident without realizing that Morbius Goku swam back to shore. But sadly, they cut out a lot of moments from this dude, like more than they've ever done from the Fast franchise, because in the trailer, they show this metallic arm that he has, and that's not brought up once in the feature film. The second act then leads him to investigate Morbius, who he actually has a connection to because he served in the war, and Mike's artificial blood is what saved him. But he must have also invented artificial lungs, because the way this man ran up to the rooftop was superhuman. They end up arresting Morbius because someone chupacabra a nurse at the facility, and they pin it all on Morbs. And Tyrese's partner was he was decent. Yeah, dude came in with the triple holy water when they were interrogating him. I personally would have come in with an all-you-can-eat garlic bread, on a silver platter, with a wooden fork. But it was funny that in a world where they've already dealt with parasitic aliens, they don't even question a vampire. Or the script. Milo then comes to visit him, but instead of dropping off Newports, he drops off a packet of blood that Morbius just slurps like a Capri Sun. And for a doctor, it kind of takes him a bit to realize that his buddy Milo is the usual suspect who trained the nurse, and now wants to obtain these new bat powers regardless of what harm it would cause. But I just knew he was going to be the bad guy the moment I saw those creepy paintings in his house. Pretty much, if you've touched a TARDIS in your life and end up in the MCU, you're going to become a villain. But at least Matt Smith is always having fun with it.
Rather than sit back on it and go, oh no, with great power comes great responsibility. He went, no. With great power comes a load of fun. Let's fly and eat people and just have a great time.
These two end up fighting in a train station where Milo debloods the police and gets away, as Morbius realizes that he can use sound waves to jump in front of a train and then ride it like he's hopping on the East Atlantic Current.
Do you have your exit buddy?
Yes! He ends up setting up shop at a random lab that Goons numbers 1 through 3 were occupying, and that's where we see the Venom joke from the trailer that isn't even in the movie. Instead, they kept Leto's ad-lib about a stinky pinky. Bro, what? Milo then kills Jared Harris, who was criminally underused in this movie, especially since he's supposed to be their guardian since they were kids. And as for the cameos in the movie had more lines than him, that then leads to the final fights where Milo looks to kill Dr. Martine until Morbs arrives and she bites him in order to Bella herself. And of course secure the sequel, as we get another final fight in the tunnels where Morbius sweeps him off his feet and Kamehameha bats Milo as he injects him with the serum to cure him. But then kills him because he has an underlying condition. In terms of Easter eggs that actually made it into the movie, they shout out the school for gifted children, which was cool, except for the fact that they don't own the rights to it. There's, of course...
We haven't had anything this good since that thing in San Francisco.
The news mentions Chameleon, which is Kraven the Hunter's brother, who's getting his own movie next year. And I'm surprised to see how stacked the cast is for that movie, and yet it's coming out in January. So, expect it in April. They make a mention to Rhino, who needs to continue being played by Giamatti, Black Cat, who should be Sydney Sweeney, and while I had mentioned in the past that I did want Garfield to get his second chance by being in the Venomverse, it's not looking good. It's kind of desperate how many times they shout out Spider-Man more than Drake shouts out his exes.
Where'd that refugee from the Rocky Horror Picture Show go?
The after credits then play immediately because they knew people were going to leave, and they show the rips in the sky from No Way Home, even though at one point this movie was meant to come out before that one. Vulture transports himself there and barely even questions anything. He just snatches up a new suit and magically meets up with Morbius to finally get the Sinister Six. It only took a decade to administer this. But I love how Keaton has always played a bad himself, and he's even doing it again. So when this man said that he was hoping the food was better in this joint, honestly, I just think it's Michael Keaton comparing the crafty between Sony, Disney, and Warner, because he truly is the man of the multiverse. In terms of Morbius, I can't think of a timeline where people were ever going to bite. Thank you all for checking out this video, and again, a big shout out to Displate for sponsoring this one. But I'm curious to know your thoughts on this one, because it wasn't the worst movie, but it also wasn't the best movie. You're really going to forget it. It was I needed to go back to catch what I had missed, because I did not remember half of the movie in the middle, and that's a sign of a really bad movie, when you don't even remember it. But it was interesting to see that the director for this one did the movie Life, which everyone thought was either going to be a Cloverfield movie or a Venom movie. They did the man dirty, because now they have him doing Life in director jail probably, so I really do hope he gets a better chance to do something. And I don't know what Sony's going to do with this. They said in the movie, you drink tequila to forget and whiskey to remember. And now that I've wrapped this, I'm ready to chug some tequila. But I'm curious to know your thoughts on this, what your favorite moment was for this, what you're looking forward to in the Sony cinematic, whatever it is they're calling it now. But until next time, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and Leto will meet you at your next screening.
You know, I worked at a movie theater when I was a kid, and I got fired for selling weed out the back door. But